All right, let's get into it. Today, we're diving into some ideas that are, well, they're so powerful they might just flip everything you think you know about living a successful and happy life.
And no, I'm not just being dramatic. The source material for this whole thing kicks off with that exact line. Think of it as a promise. We're about to tear down all these complicated myths we've built around what it takes to make it and get to the simple, almost embarrassingly obvious truths that, actually work.
So, let's start with the big problem, the one we all fall for. We've convinced ourselves that life is this incredibly complicated puzzle, right? And so naturally, we think the solutions have to be just as complex. But here's the kicker. What if that very belief, that love for complexity, is the main thing getting in our way?
I mean, this just hits the nail on the head. We are obsessed with complexity. We hunt for that magical 47-step morning routine because the simple truth just feels, well, boring. It doesn't feel special enough. Think about it. Every diet book, hundreds of pages, boils down to eat less, move more. All the relationship advice, communicate and care. But we ignore that. We want the complicated secret, because simple just doesn't feel like a hack.
So that's the big question, right? If the answers are so simple, why does life feel so ridiculously hard sometimes? Well, here's the twist. It turns out that our natural instincts, the way we think we should chase our goals, are often completely 100% backward. And that brings us to this fascinating idea of backwards laws. These are these strange, counterintuitive rules for life, where the best way to get what you want is to do the exact opposite of what your gut tells you to do. Okay, first up, the effort paradox. You know this one. Ever tried to force yourself to fall asleep? It's impossible. The harder you try, the more wide awake you become. It's the same thing with trying to be happy or find love. The more desperate you are, the faster they run away. Now, the answer isn't to just give up. It's about effort without attachment. You still have to do the work, but you have to let go of that desperate white-knuckle grip on the outcome.
And then there's the control paradox. Oh man, we waste so much time and energy worrying about things in our circle of concern, traffic, the economy, what other people think of us, stuff we have absolutely zero control over. The Stoics figured this out thousands of years ago. The real secret to sanity is focusing only on your circle of influence. You can't control the traffic jam, but you can control what time you leave the house. You can't control someone else's opinion, but you can control whether you're a person worth respecting.
I love this quote. Happiness is like a cat. Ignore it and it jumps in your lap. It's so true. We have this huge misunderstanding about happiness. We treat it like this thing we have to hunt down and capture. But it's not a destination, it's a byproduct. It's the thing that shows up when you're busy doing something else, focusing on meaningful work, growing as a person, helping others. You stop chasing the cat, and suddenly it's purring on your lap.
Okay, so you might be thinking this all sounds a bit mystical. Effortless action. Ignore happiness. But it's not magic. It's actually grounded in neuroscience. To really get a handle on why these backwards laws work, we have to look under the hood and understand the weird, wacky way our own brains are wired.
All right, brace yourself for this one, because it's a doozy. We all like to think of ourselves as these logical, rational creatures, right? Well, we're not even close. Look at this. A whopping 90% of our decisions are made by our emotional brain. And our logical brain? It's basically the press secretary. Its job is to come in after the decision is made and cook up a good story to justify it.
And if you're wondering why emotion is in the driver's seat, well, it comes down to speed. Pure, raw speed. Your emotional brain, that gut instinct, is processing information 500,000 times faster than your logical brain. It's like a fighter jet versus a tricycle. By the time your rational mind is just starting to analyze the data, your emotional brain has already landed the plane.
And just when you thought your brain couldn't get any weirder, let's talk about memory. We all assume our memories are like perfect little video files stored in our heads. The truth is, they're not. They're much more like a Google Doc. Every single time you open that document, every time you remember something, you're not just reading it, you're actually rewriting it, just a little bit. Your brain fills in the gaps, tweaks the details, all to make the story fit better with who you are today.
So what this means is that you're not remembering the actual event. You're just remembering the last time you remembered it. Now that might sound a little scary, like your memory is an unreliable narrator, and it is. But think about the power in that. If you're already the editor of your own life story, why not become a conscious editor? You get to choose which parts of the story to highlight. You can literally shape your own narrative.
Okay, so we've peeked inside our weird and wonderful brains. We know we're emotional, we can't trust our memory, so what do we do with all this? How do we use this strange operating system to our advantage? Well, this is where we get to the real cheat codes.
The simple systems that can give you massive, outsized results.
First up, the 80-20 principle. This is an absolute game changer. It's super simple. About 80% of your results will come from just 20% of your actions. Your job, your only job really, is to figure out what that critical 20% is. Which clients, which projects, which habits are actually giving you the biggest bang for your buck. Find them, and then be absolutely ruthless about cutting out the other 80% of fluff that's wasting your time.
So if 80-20 is about where to put your effort, the next cheat code, the compound effect, is about how to apply it. And look at this number. It seems fake, right? There's no way it's that big. But the math is solid. If you can just get 1% better at something every single day, just a tiny, almost invisible improvement, by the end of the year, you'll be nearly 38 times better. It's insane.
And this chart really drives the point home. It's a double-edged sword. Those tiny 1% improvements stack up and create this incredible upward curve towards success. But, and this is the scary part, it works just as powerfully in reverse. That 1% worse every day, skipping the gym, eating junk food, those tiny choices also compound and they send you spiraling downwards. Your daily choices feel like nothing in the moment, but over a year, they are everything. They literally build your future.
So with all that pressure, how do you make sure you're making the right tiny choices? Well, here's a super powerful mental tool. The deathbed test. Whenever you're stressing out about something or facing a tough decision, just ask yourself, at 90 years old, looking back on my life, will I even remember this? Will I care? It's amazing how quickly that question just cuts through all the noise and shows you what actually matters.
When you put it all together, it really boils down to this incredibly simple 3-step recipe for life. Step 1, radically accept the things you cannot change. Just let them go. Step 2, become an absolute master of the things you can control, which is basically just your own actions and your own reactions. And step 3, take those actions and apply the unstoppable magic of compounding. Do the small things consistently every single day.
And look, if you need one last little push to get started, here it is, 30,000 days. That's it. That's roughly what you get, if you're lucky. When you stop thinking about your life in years and start thinking about it in days, it hits different, doesn't it? It makes you ask, okay, how am I spending today? Is it moving me up or down that curve?
So that's what I want to leave you with. Winning at life isn't about discovering some big, complicated secret that no one else knows. It's about deeply understanding a few simple, powerful truths, and then just applying them over and over and over again. The power isn't in some hidden secret, it's in your daily system. So the only real question left is, what tiny choice, what 1% improvement are you going to start compounding today?